you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Moses Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. And there are latest scenes that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as the rest of the world, because, you're here. For 16 years, 2,400 episodes, you've been learning, growing, changing, becoming better. Yeah, I sound like that intro to the $6 Million Man show. We can make him better. We have the technology. You have the technology here, folks. The podcast, the Chris Voss Show podcast. And refer it to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss. One on the TikTokity. I don't know why I'm doing that, but and also Chris Voss, Facebook.com. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to talk about his hot new book that's off the shelves that probably applies to everybody these days, especially living in 2025, which we are right now. If you're watching this 10 years from now on YouTube, like you guys do, so this is a book that everyone needs. At one point in life, I guess, or at least the older you get, it seems like you need it. His book is entitled How to Sleep Like a Caveman, Ancient Wisdom for a Better Night's Rest, based on the evolutionary science of sleep from saber-toothed tigers to modern insomnia, out May 20th, 2025. We have Merijn on the show with us. Did I get that right, sir?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you pronounced it right. Yeah.
I want to make sure we know he's hit that right on the head when we try and get that out there. He is a sleep scientist and psychologist with years of experience treating sleep disorders. He lives in the Netherlands, and it's his first book that has been published in over 20 languages. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, it's late in the evening here in Holland, but I'm still awake.
I tried to be a sleep scientist too once, but my girlfriend said she was sick of me just sleeping in bed all day and not getting out of bed and playing video games, and that I had to go get a job, because the rent had to be paid. And but I was like, no, I'm trying to be a sleep scientist, Mom.
Yeah, you were just doing the practical exams then.
Yeah, it was the novice level. So you're expert level. So give us .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so it's MerijnvandeLaar.com. I think we have to put that in the show notes because I think nobody will be able to make notes of that. But it's MerijnvandeLaar.com, and there you can find anything about the book and about me. Yeah.
So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that is in the book is that it's very important to look at the physiology of sleep. So how is sleep made up, and why do we sleep like we sleep? Because there are a lot of things in sleep that are very interesting. Like you have different phases of sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, light sleep. And why is it configured this way? And what I try to do is I try to look at the evolution and to explain why we have these different phases and these different cycles in sleep, and why the most important sleep, the deep sleep, actually comes first in the night. So really? There's a lot about physiology. There's a lot about insomnia and why people have insomnia, why they experience it, and what they can do about it.
So give us a background on you. How did you grow up? What influenced you? And how did you get into this business? Why was there a cathartic moment where you're like, I need to study some sleep, eh?
Yeah. I was studying psychology and I was enjoying it a lot. And especially the course about evolution was very interesting to me. So what I did is after I did the psychology study, I started working as a psychologist and I started specializing in sleep. So I started working at a sleep center in Holland. It's called Kempenhagen. And I worked there for 9 years. Also did my PhD there and studied insomnia, and also suffered from insomnia myself a couple of years. So I think on one hand, the own experience with insomnia, and the other hand, the interest in evolutionary psychology really combined in this job that I do right now.
And it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like this, there's a theme I'm seeing, kind of discussions about sleep, that when you get older, it seems harder to fall asleep and all that sort of stuff. Well, what's that about?
Yeah, you see that this.
True?
I mean, sleep ages, and I often say you get wrinkles in your skin, but you also get the wrinkles in your sleep. So what happens is you wake up more often. Usually, when you get older, this already happens after 40. So and when you age, this gets worse. And this also, I describe in the book, this also has an evolutionary reason, probably because the older people were not able to hunt and gather anymore that much as the younger ones. So they had a different role during the night. They had to be awake to make sure that everybody was safe during the night. So probably why older people sleep less deeply than younger.
Really? So it was like a safety concern.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's called the Sentinel hypothesis. Yeah.
The Sentinel hypothesis. I heard this thing recently, and I don't know if it's true because it was on the internet. You know how that works, right? But there was something that someone said, one of the talking heads, they're always doing the cruise around there on the, they're doing the circuit of podcasts. And so you're kind of always like, who's the professional, who's not? I mean, I got to figure this all out. Right. And they were saying that that men and women have different things that they monitor for. So a woman tends to notice a crying baby in the house, or a distressed baby, crying baby, whatever you want to call it. She notices things in the house, sound wise, that she's got to respond to as a mother. And then men, they don't tend to notice those things, but they tend to hear what's going on in the outside. They're like security driven listen instead of baby driven listen. They're security driven listen. You think there's any truth to that? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think so. I mean, especially if you look at young children, then you see that women are usually much more sensitive to the crying of a baby, and they wake up more often than men usually. And the thing is that if you're asleep, you're still a bit awake, so there's always a filter going on. You're always filtering things from the outside, which is also very important because it keeps you safe. I mean, you may be asleep, but everything around you is still registered, so everything comes in. But you have a big filter that keeps you asleep. And in women, a crying baby just passes the filter, so it just gets in, and that's why they wake up.
Wow. That's really interesting. A lot of women that complain, or, you see it online where they're like, oh, the man never wakes up when, doing the thing. But, and I'm no scientist. Let's put it that way, folks. We don't like to share anything we don't like to platform it on the Chris Voss show. That's might be, don't start a cult with it, please. That's basically it. But I remember seeing that, and I was just like, wow, okay. Maybe there is some truth to that. I don't know. I think a lot of things we experience around sleep have a very distinct reason, and often it comes back to evolution, definitely. So maybe now that I'm getting older, my body is like trying to keep me awake for something, even though I'm a single guy. I don't have babies in the house, and I don't have a family. I'm protecting my dog, but I think my dog
you might be.
Anything. She's got it down more than I do. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that when you age, I mean, the thing is that we have this genetic makeup, and this genetic makeup is built on 10,000s of years of evolution. So it doesn't really matter if you're single or if you're married or whatever. Your sleep is just it's like innate. It's built inside based on 10,000s of years of evolution, and it still works the same way as it did 10,000s of years ago. And that's what we've often lost touch with in the modern world. So we really think that sleep is something you can put on and put off. And if you look at in the context of evolution, it's much more logical what happens during the night.
Much more logical what happens during the night. So how long have you been counseling people and working on this project of becoming a sleep expert and master?
I think I was 25 when I started as a sleep scientist, and now I'm 46, so 21 years. I think I treated up to 7,000 to 8,000 people with insomnia in the years with different severity. So you have people with very severe insomnia, people who only experience insomnia for a couple of months, but also I've seen people who've experienced insomnia for like 20 to 25 years. So,
wow. Wow, that sounds like my wife. She's had a headache for the last 25 to 30 years.
Oh.
Maybe you could fix that too.
Is she treated for that or not?
I'm not married, so it's a married joke. So what are some aspects do you I mean you're giving instructions on how to sleep like a caveman. Of course, we need people to buy the book to find out how, but maybe some what are some indicators that you need to improve the quality of your sleep by reading your book? Basically, what are some things that might be going on? There's a what's that thing with the Darth Vader mask people wear?
Oh yeah,
snore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of those things that might, if this book is for you if you have these problems.
Yeah, I think the first thing is if you're very worried about your sleep and if you experience anxiety during the night and you're ruminating about sleep and you are very tired during the day, experiencing complaints during the day, I think it's very important to read the book because it can really help you to recover your sleep in like 21 days. And I think that one of the first things that you can do and that you can read in the book is you can get knowledge about sleep, because I think a lot of knowledge that is spread on social media, on media is not right. There's a lot of things going on there, and especially the 8-hour myth, the 7 to 9 hour myth is going around that everybody should sleep between 7 to 9 hours, that you might get sick if you sleep less, but also that being awake during the night is actually very bad for you, while there is actually no evidence for the fact that being awake is in itself problematic.
Really?
And one of the things I describe in the book is that the Hadza tribe, which lives in Tanzania, they are awake for 2.5 hours every night on average, and they don't experience a sleep problem. And these people still live within the same circumstances we did when we were cavemen. So I think that being awake during the night is very, very normal. And I think that's also one of the things I describe in the book. Yeah.
How come I feel run down? Like right now I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. I went to the gym last night and I couldn't get to sleep because I was jacked up a little. And I was running on 4 hours of sleep. I feel like I've been hit by a bus. I don't feel fully recovered. What am I doing wrong if I can't sleep for 4 hours? Like, is there something with diet or maybe
4 hours, right?
I slept 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very short. There are not many people who can get by on 4 hours. That's really short.
I can't. Yeah. I had to do a show. So we pumped some coffee and caffeine and some energy in me and jacked me up. But I mean, so how is there a way that I can replicate what that tribe does? I'd love to only sleep for that amount of time and not be murdering people the next day. But I'm one of those people that I'm a morning. There's a sign on top of my espresso coffee. This is you don't bother me until we've had coffee, and I need like at least 5 hours in the morning to become a human being. And then you can talk to me. Like my girlfriends know you don't go near me for the first like 12 hours of the day in the morning.
Yeah, so it's a very important sign on your espresso cup. Then everybody has to keep out.
Otherwise, there's murder. And then we have the skull coffee cup for the people who crossed that boundary. So this is the last person who fucked with me for coffee.
Well, the thing is, the thing that strikes me is that you say that you slept for 4 hours, which is very short. So I would like to know why. Do you sleep for 4 hours every night, or
sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes. So how many hours do you sleep on average?
I try and sleep 8 hours. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep over 1 or 2 periods, people are going to die. And I don't even trust myself if I'm not, like right now I could drive, I'm doing okay. But sometimes I'm ground down if I take 2 or 3 nights where I don't have, full 8 hours of sleep each night. And so like today I'll take a nap and pick up the other 4 hours. So I'll be fine once I get through that. But I don't know. I mean, is that healthy or normal? Or, there's sometimes where I'm just like, I'm not going to drive a car today because I'm just, I can tell I'm off my game and I'm just not going out and driving.
So what time do you usually get to bed?
It depends. I toss and turn a lot, and I'll toss and turn like 2 or 3 hours. Like I'll just lay there and sometimes just waiting for the edibles to kick in. And usually when they kick in, that's when I kick out.
And so if you could sleep longer in the morning, could you sleep longer, you think?
No, not with the schedule
really.
that we keep, because most podcasts, they want interviews during the daytime.
Oh, yeah. So you can sleep in. Usually.
I've always been a night person. That maybe that's a good question for you. Is there really a truth to night people and day people? Like I have like werewolf energy at night. And it didn't help that I lived in Vegas for 20 years where everyone does shit at night because that's when it's cool and you're not going to catch fire when you leave the house. So you do all your grocery shopping and everything late at night. Is there any truth to that, or is that just kind of?
Yeah. There are different chronotypes, and I think that one of the things that really comes to mind when I hear your story is that you're really a night person. So that's the first thing, which means that I think you can go to bed. You can try to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and you won't sleep for a couple of hours, right?
Yeah. I'll just lay there, toss and turn.
Hours. Yeah.
And I'll be tired, but as soon as I lay down, my brain goes, "We're not tired anymore." And then if I'm like, "Okay, well, fuck you, I'm going to get back up," my brain's like, "No, we're tired."
Yeah. That's the difference between being tired and being sleepy, actually. So you have different chronotypes. And
really?
You have like morning types, you have evening types, and maybe you're more of a night person. And what happens if a night person goes to bed very early, then they might be tired because there's a lot going on in their life, but they're not sleepy yet. Being sleepy is a different thing, and it has to do with adenosine, which is in your brain. And this usually builds up. And in people with a late biological clock, so a late chronotype, it can sometimes be too early to go to bed. So maybe you might benefit from going to bed later, but I don't know. What time do you usually fall asleep?
About 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah. Then you're definitely a night person. Have you ever tried melatonin?
Oh, yeah. Like fucking candy.
Yeah. Does it work?
I mean, I think it worked for like 30 days or something.
Oh, yeah.
But then sleeping pills, same way. I have a high tolerance, as we talked about before the show, of any drug, which has kind of been nice because it's kept me off of any troubles. But it kept me on booze for 20 years and now edibles. Thankfully, they're illegal. But sleeping pills, if I try taking sleeping pills, they might work for like a week. And they're gone. They stop working. You have to take double. In fact, I was taking double melatonin, and then I was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to." Oopsie.
Yeah. But what happens is usually people, if they use melatonin, I think first of all, it's always very important before you use melatonin to consult a physician. But always, if you use melatonin, I see a lot of people who use it too late, so they use it like half an hour before going to bed. Which is much too late. So usually what people advise is like taking it 2.5 to 3 hours before going to bed or before wanting to sleep, because then it can kick in after a couple of hours and you get this buildup in your blood. That's what usually happens when melatonin is used in practice. So sometimes it can help to take it a little bit earlier. And sleeping pills, if you're suffering from being a late chronotype, then sleeping pills won't do anything for you, or maybe temporary. So that's why I think it didn't work on you. Yeah. And you're snoring. Do you have breathing stops or not?
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of an overweight dude, and so I have I get that snoring. My mom gives me bad time all the time. Then I probably need to get she has that Darth Vader mask thing, I call it. But every time I talk to one of those people that have these Darth Vader masks, I even have a friend who's got an implant in his chest, the Inspire, I think it is, or something like that. They're never getting any good sleep either. Like, they're full of shit half the time. Like they'll always argument. They're like, "Oh, Chris, it really works. It really helps me." And then like 2 days later, I'll see a Facebook post going, "Yeah, I'm still not sleeping. Oh,
I'm so tired."
And you're like, "You're so full of shit." Like I'm honoring your stuff. Like, you're full of shit.
Well, it depends. I think if you're suffering from sleep apnea, then you see that what happens in sleep apnea is actually your body gets too little oxygen, so it wakes you up during the deep sleep, and that's why you wake up, and this is not good for your health, and it really it can give you insomnia as well. In some cases it doesn't, but some cases it does. And what you see is that because the oxygen drops, that really has a bad effect on your health as well. So you have like a higher cardiovascular risk and higher chance of obesity and that kind of stuff. But if you use the CPAP, so this is the machine, then you usually see that the apneas go down, which is actually better for your health. But I mean, I think if I listen to your story, then there might be a couple of problems actually.
Well, so first one is me, so there's that.
Yeah, so being a late person, late sleeper, maybe sleep apnea, we don't know, but this can be checked by a doctor. I don't know if you've ever visited. Yeah. And maybe insomnia to go with that, because you're tossing and turning, and you can't sleep in the morning. So I would definitely see a physician if I were you.
All right. Well, I've seen them and they have seen me, and leave it at that. Let me ask you this. There was a question I had for you. Where'd it go? Now, what do you think of like these other sleep assists other than the Darth Vader machines? Like one of the things I've had for, I think since 2020 is the 8 sleep bed. And I love it. It's my number one, I can't live without product that I own. Like it is next to probably the phone and my computer. It's the number one product I cannot live without. And unless people want to die and I want to go to jail for murdering, don't do that, folks. What are your thoughts on some of these things? Like I do my 8 sleep bed, and there are other competitors in the market. I don't mean to do an 8 sleep commercial here, but it is really good. And but there's other products on the market, like these beds that will cool and heat. I've had some people say that cooling is the best way to fall asleep, to have your bed super cold. But what's nice is it does give me some data and feedback. Like it gives me a report. It's got an AI system on it that will adjust. This is a commercial for 8 sleep, isn't it? It's got an AI thing that will adjust. It tells me what my REM here is. Yeah. So it says my quality of sleep last night was 55%.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah,
I flunked in school and I flunked in sleeping. I can't win. 28% consistency, 4.39 hours. Says I got deep sleep 48 minutes, REM 39. So it monitors all that, and it's supposed to adjust. It's supposed to have an AI that adjusts my stuff. I got 2 hours and 35 minutes of snoring.
That's a lot. Yeah.
What do you think about some of these different features? Do these help, or are these not helping?
I think that trackers, and especially if you look at commercial trackers, like these things that are like in the bed, or you can use smartwatches, or these things, they're actually not really reliable. That's the thing about it. So they give a score, they give a sleep score. They also give a score on REM sleep, on deep sleep, and how much you've had. And if you compare them to polysomnography, which is a sleep research that you do in a sleep center, then you see that they're actually quite bad at estimating how much you've been in a certain sleep phase. What they can do usually is they can estimate how long you've slept on average, but they're very bad at distinguishing between different sleep phases. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to know, because, I do notice inconsistencies. Like I have a Galaxy watch that, is supposed to measure your sleep, and I think the phone does some of its own, Google Fit or something. And I've noticed there's an inconsistency of data there. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, my data is I didn't kill anyone before my coffee in the morning, so it's a good day.
That's a good sign. That's a good night. Yeah.
That's what the judge tells me. Next week I get one of my 6 ankle monitors bracelets off. What have we talked about that you want to tease out to people to get them to pick up the book?
Yeah, I think they're in the book contains a lot of things, a lot of information on sleep. It also gives you details on how to improve your sleep schedule by using a sleep log. So you can use a sleep log that you fill in yourself, which is actually very subjective, but it really works. We see in practice and also in studies that it's a really good indication of how your sleep quality is, which is often subjective. So you use the book, you use the sleep log, and you try to see whether you improve in your sleep. And what we usually see is that, especially sleep restriction, which is one of the most important methods to improve sleep. If you do that, then within a couple of weeks, you see that 80 to 85% of people actually improve their sleep within a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's a very strong method. There's a lot of research on that for the past decades. And it's a very good method. And in short, I mean, what does it mean? I was talking about adenosine. It's adenosine is making you sleepy. And what you do is you try to build up adenosine to make you sleepier. So a lot of people who have insomnia, they're very, very tired, but they're not sleepy. So we use this system in our brain to create more adenosine. It builds up, and then it creates nights in which you fall asleep. faster, and you have less problems of being awake during the night. So it has an effect on both the falling asleep, but also on maintaining sleep. And I think that's one of the strengths of the book, that it really goes into that method and how you can do it yourself.
So I can retrain myself from
yes, you can.
my bad habits of, one of the other problems is screens. If people watch TV before they go to bed, that blue light, is that the bigger problem as they say it is, watching screens before you go to bed and blue light?
Yeah, there's a lot of research on that for the past 10 years. And I think that if we look at 10 years ago, then there was a lot to do about the blue light and screens and the mobile phones, and there was a lot of light that was really keeping us awake. But now we know that the light that's emitted from the screen, from a mobile phone, is actually not that intense. So, you usually need like about 10 lux to disturb your biological clock. And if you look at the mobile phone, if you have it in the bed, you're looking at a mobile phone, you get 3 lux. So it's a lot less than the 10 lux that really, So there's also something that's like a myth, and it's been put there down like in social media, and what we see is that it's actually not true anymore. I mean, there was research that said it might be, and now we see that it's not true actually. Yeah.
Wow, that's
the TV is. I've actually advised people to watch TV in the bedroom, because sometimes when people are very busy in their heads, they have like lots of thoughts going around, then sometimes the distraction from a TV can actually help you to fall asleep quicker. I've had patients who were on the couch watching TV falling asleep, and then they went to bed and they couldn't sleep anymore. So sometimes I advised using a television.
Wow. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've always, I have a bad habit of watching freaking TikTok before going to bed. I really do. It's a bad habit. Let's put it that way. And so sometimes I sit there and doom scroll, or whatever you want to call it, through TikTok, and then I wake up and it's 4 a.m. Or I look up and it's 4 a.m. and I'm like, fuck.
So you were asleep. Yeah. And it depends on what you do. I mean, if you're on the phone and you're replying your work mail, or that's not a good thing. If you're looking at horror movies, watching horror movies, that's not a good thing. But I mean, if you're just doing things that are really calming your brain, then it's okay.
Watching horror movies before bedtime of what's underneath the bed. Yeah, that sounds like a great peaceful way to go. Yeah, do that. Oh, man. Well, so tell us about, do you have offerings on your website? Do you do consulting, coaching? What are some things maybe people can find there that you can maybe work with them personally, one-on-one? I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't work with individual patients anymore. So I had my own practice after working at the sleep center. But now I do consultations. I do presentations for companies. And I also do consultations for professionals like psychologists and psychiatrists. So people can hire me for that kind of work, and I mean that's something I really love to do. So yeah.
Well, awesome sauce, man. And so people can reach out to you there. So give us a final pitch out as we go out, and where people can order the book.
Yeah. Well, you can order the book at Amazon.com, and I think that the final pitch. I think that if you want to know more about sleep, if you want to be less stressed about sleep, and if you want to have some practical advice how to improve your insomnia, that's really science-based, then the book is the book is a good thing for you.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm going to read the book because I need some sleep. I need as much help as I can freaking get. So, thanks, guys, for tuning in. Order up the book wherever fine books are sold. It is entitled How to Sleep Like a Caveman, Ancient Wisdom for a Better Night's Rest, based on evolutionary science of sleep, from saber-toothed tigers to modern insomnia. So how to sleep like a caveman? Does that mean I just take a caveman club and just knock myself over the head?
Well, you could do that. I don't think that's very healthy, but you can do that. Yeah, it's not very
healthy. Give yourself a brain hemorrhage. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have us out. Good job, man.